Hi everyone, welcome to Tech Down Over. I'm Rick Zanotti and I'm joined by my good friend. State your name, good friend.
Jeff Blanchard here. We keep saying 00 Blanchard.
00 Blanchard?
Down here in Australia when Rick's over there in California.
So Jeff, how are you doing with all your Christmas shopping and all the toys? I know you've been wanting to really get that credit card into that new camera or movie camera. Did you do
that's
it?
What I'm... No, I haven't, but it's getting close. And it's what sort of thing, you don't have to have it, but it's really good when you start to research different things and looking for new cameras and that. So, yes, definitely still got my mind on it. But
well, today is our holiday special, and we've got 4 people on, total of 4 of us. So you're seeing 2 of us right now, but we also have Harold, and we've got Christian Gracz. He's joining us as our special guest today. We thought of him. This is our special time of the year, and we wanted someone special, and it was Christian. So we appreciate everything Christian's done for the show and all his support and all the stuff that he shares with us. So we wanted to bring him back and share our Christmas and New Year's with him too. So this is it'll be a fun show. Shall we start?
Yep, here we go.
Here we go.
This show is sponsored by Relate Corporation at www.relate.com, your training and video partner.
Hello, I'm Peter Baker. Please visit voiceovermasterclass.com to see details of the training courses I have on offer for new and existing voice talent to further their career by enhancing voice and technical skills, as well as essential marketing tips.
And we are back. Today we don't have a central position of power because there's nobody right actually in the center. We are all in a position of power. What do you think? We've got Christian.
I think it's great. I think it's a great idea.
So we've got Christian with us today. And now, Christian, last time you were on, you were talking about maybe, just maybe, getting that S1H. Did you do it?
No, I didn't do it because I still use my G9 and it received a major update and the new functions are so good that I decided to still use my G9.
I'm on the G9 right now on my camera. I switched the GH5 to the G9 just to test. It works beautifully. And you're right. Those new features put it pretty much where the S1H is almost. Not far from it.
Not far from it. Only the sensor is different, but it's still amazing.
It's pretty good.
They really improved the. Let me get back. They really improved the focus quite a bit too. I mean, it was already good after that previous round of focus updates, but we noticed, for example, that we have the G9 and previously the GH5 set up as the studio cam for Rick here for his shot, and before we would always have to do the. Touch the shutter halfway to do the focus, or we'd always have to focus as he sat down. But now it just always gets him.
Once you turn it on, anything that walks in, it just goes person. If we have face tracking, it immediately goes to the face, and you don't have to focus anymore, which was a pain before. If you forgot to focus and you start doing something, and then you look and go, it's totally out of focus. Not anymore. They fixed that, which is not, and it's not hunting. It's staying on the person, which is great.
I had to just have a giggle then, because the moment Harold mentioned that, he went to your shot and you went out of focus.
Did I?
Yeah. But it's definitely less than before. Yeah.
I said he just did that on purpose, just to make it.
It's a Panasonic G-Wiz 9. G-Wiz. So it did actually went out for a second. That's funny.
Yep.
It's been almost perfect. No, it's really been almost perfect. I think we've done this for about 2 weeks now on the G9. We started last week on it, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's done a really good job. It's pretty clean. That's interesting. Yeah, so in here, well, Jeff has one GH5 that he got. In studio here in the company, we've got 2 GH5s, 1 G9, and 1 GH5S. And I've got the S at home, but I think I'm going to swap the S for here and take my G9 back because I like having that one. And then we also got some new equipment this year. and this is interesting. Christian I think will relate to this one. We had enough budget that if we wanted to, we could have gotten a Panasonic S1H, and we didn't. We got a Canon C200. We've been wanting one of those for years, and it's been out for 2 years. And everybody I know who's a videographer has one, and they say they are great. They just work really, really well. The color science is great. And we decided we're going to give it a shot. We have a lot of Canon lenses, so might as well. And then I said, okay, we have enough budget to get some other things. We got a new Benro BV10 tripod, which is really nice. It's a professional tripod, very good, fluid head. We got a Canon EOS R again. We had one, sold it, and we bought it back. So we bought a new one. And if you won't believe it, the Canon EOS R is $2,400. It's on sale for $1,499 right now, less than $1,500. That's a good price for a full frame camera that really, and mirrorless, it does a good job. So we figured, well, we'll get that one back, and we got the new 70-200 Canon lens, the not the new one, the Mark III. The new RF mount is crazy. That lens trombones in and out, which for a professional lens you don't see very often. So I don't know what they were thinking. And it costs $2,700. That's insane. That's a lot of money. So we got the version 3 for just regular Canon. But, it's interesting. In talking about the S1H, and I've been looking at the S1, the S1R, the S1H, and I was going, I really want one. And it looks really good. The focus is really no better than the regular Panasonic GH5, the G9, meaning it's good focus, but it's not great focus when it comes to moving objects. It's still not the best. And we kept thinking, and then the lenses are so expensive. If you go with Leica lenses, Panasonic has very few. I think there's only 2 or 3, and they're expensive. And then while I like Sigma, the Sigma lenses are very big. They're very large for this camera. They're heavy, and I don't know how fast they are for video, because Sigma doesn't have the fastest video lenses. So I kept thinking, do we want to invest in the Leica brand, really? Because you're buying a Panasonic, but you're really buying that Leica mount, which to me is not a smart move, because you've got a Canon mount, which is used by many, including Panasonic uses the Canon mount on their EVA cameras, the EVA 1. And why they went with the Leica mount, I don't know. Any comments, Christian? Why would you go with the Leica mount, or are you concerned about it?
No, because I think the lenses from Leica are really, really expensive.
Yeah.
But I like the Sigma lenses, and I think that may be good, but I didn't try them at the S1H, but I used them for my G9, and they are also really awesome. But
Video or
they are
video
a little
too?
bit slower than the Panasonic lenses,
Okay.
but I still like them.
Were they native mount, or were they with an adapter?
Native mount. Yeah,
native mount. Okay, that's
the one
good.
I use.
Yeah. Do you have the Sigma 35 millimeter? No, not 35. I'm sorry. It's a 30 millimeter.
The 30. I have that one.
That's a
and
beautiful
the
lens.
millimeter.
Yeah, that's a beautiful lens on Sigma, and it takes gorgeous pictures.
For video, my favorite lens is the Sigma 16 millimeters, because it focuses really well and stays on the subject, because my old Sigma lens, which I used, didn't do that, because it was always focus hunting, but the new 16 millimeter isn't doing that at all.
So that's equivalent to about a 32 millimeter?
32.
32. That's nice. That's a good size. And it's pretty fast on video?
It's pretty fast on video, and it focuses really well, and the main point why I bought it is because it's really, really sharp on video. On photos, it's also sharp, but on video, it's really, really sharp if you film in 4K. And I liked it really much.
Sigma has good lenses. We always joke about it here, but ever since the radiation accident they had, their lenses have become great, because they're in Fukushima, where they had the so we go, this is interesting.
Plant,
I wonder if that had anything to do with, you just wonder. Jeff, what have you been doing? I know you're really close to doing something.
Well, we're really all mentioning about the Panasonics, and then they said the troubles they've had over the time with the focusing on that, and it just amazed me because Panasonic is so popular. Like the three of us have got Panasonic cameras there, and we still love them, even though the had a bit of a problem with the focus. It's getting better, the focus, but then I'm looking at a new video camera. Goodness knows why I'm looking for another video camera, but I looked at like the Panasonic CX350, which is nearly a $6,000 camera.
CX350? I'm not familiar with that one.
CX350, well, it's $6,000 here, probably 3.7 there on that.
Okay.
But it's a damn good camera. But the thing is, what plagues them, one of the things that people don't like with it is the focus is not as good.
It's the same focus.
And then they've had the bits of upgrade that's made it better. But that's why one of the things, if I'm looking at this, I'm really getting keen to go to the the PXW Z190 in the Sony.
150, right? Is it 190 or 150?
No, there's the 150, but there's the 190, which is a 3-chip one.
Is that new?
That's one of the later ones. It's sort of the smaller version to the 280.
Oh,
but,
okay.
Even here, it's still about $6,000 here, but about 3.7 there. But the thing is, I like with that, it's got all the neutral density filters on it, but the things I do have, it's got the variable neutral density, so you just got to dial it in.
Yeah.
Whatever, you don't have all the different stops, you just dial into whatever you want, and I really like that because even with the GH5, I love the quality, but I'm so lazy I can't be bothered putting an ND filter on most of the time, or I've already finished the filming. But you put the ND filter on, but with the video cameras you don't have to bother, it's already built into there. But
now, Jeff, would you get a Panasonic S1H?
Probably not. No, I like the GH5 and that format. I can't see really any need for me. That's why I say I'll go for something different, like a proper video camera, to say I've got something different. Because to me, it'd be just a bigger version, different for that. And I'm not that far into it, but the GH5 still doing such a good quality for the stills and video. I'd still love that, but and then a video camera would complement it. You still need that GH5 for like putting on the gimbal and that and taking it around, because these big cameras, these other ones, they're not the easiest to cart around because they're not small, but they're getting lighter. But I thought give the Sony a go, because one of their advantages, their focus is really good. And like people say, I love to do manual focus, but when a lot of the time you think you're in focus, and even with all the different things, the help, a lot of times you think, it isn't. And the autofocus really does help when you think doing things on the move. You haven't got time to do it yourself. And it's got all of the great things.
Now, the other day we went to film, last week we filmed it. We filmed a little bit more this week. We went to a golf country club to film, because they're having problems. They're trying to rebuild it, and they're trying to get popular support out there, information out there. And it was a beautiful country club at one point. Now it's a little bit in disrepair. They need to get more money into it. And so we went to film it. And so we took the XF705, which is the Canon. It's the professional camcorder. And then we also took the GH5. I was shooting on the GH5 indoors. Harold was shooting with the XF705. And the video footage on the 705 actually looked better. I was going, I said colors were about the same, right?
Yeah.
705 was richer.
I would say indoors it was about the same. However, 705, like when you have the more cinema-like features, because that's kind of like a cinema-light camcorder, then you can do things like you have different gamma curves. Like the main one we use on the 705 is called a wide dynamic range, and that gets it gets a good look even if you don't really do post-processing, but you can grade it more, and you also get gamma curves that'll get you a wider dynamic range like that. Like they have a perceptual quantizer, and they have the other day, because it was just yesterday, it was a pretty bright sunny day, so we were using their hybrid log gamma, which gives you a really wide dynamic range, and you pretty much do need to grade that, but you get shots that you wouldn't have been able to otherwise, basically.
Now, we could have gotten some shots like that in video with the Panasonic using their Vlog, but we don't have Vlog on this one, and we use the Cinelike D, which is kind of like wide, kind of like the wide that Canon has, but not quite. It's not quite as gradable, though they said it can be graded. But I think the sensor was just either not quite. I don't even think it was a sensor issue. I think it was more the color science on the Canon was just a little bit richer. I think that's what I would say, it was richer. And I was using the 12 to 60 lens, which is the it's about $1,000 Panasonic Leica lens. It's good, but it just didn't seem to have quite the hit that it's an f2.8, which is about what we were shooting with the XF705, but it just didn't quite have the look. I was a little further away too, but zoomed into probably about, I was probably at about 50 millimeters, 40, maybe 40 millimeters, which is 80 millimeters. So it kept me sort of close. What would you say the big differences were between the two, Harold?
Well, and I would say a really major difference, we kind of mentioned this a little bit earlier in the show, was that the camcorder has the integrated ND filters. On this one, it has like 3 different steps for the ND filter. There's like one stop. It's like a half, quarter, 16th and 64th amount of light. So it's not quite like the one that Jeff's talking about, where you get as many steps between them as you want.
Yeah.
But it's still so much more convenient than with a DSLR. Then you have to have the different ND filters. Well, I mean, you do have variable ND filters that you can put on, but you still have to get it and you have to put it on and all that kind of thing. Yeah. So when you just have it in the camcorder and you just turn it on with a button anytime you need it, that is really that is really convenient. And besides that, just having the form factor of a video camera, especially for longer shoots, because we mostly did kind of short clips that day, but we also did some longer.
We did about a 90-minute recording of an event. He was shooting with the XF705. I shot in the back of the room with the GH5, and both cameras had no problem keeping up with the event. I had to change batteries once because I think one of my batteries wasn't fully charged where I thought it was on the 2 that I had, and it still ran really well. It didn't have anything. The audio we both got wasn't bad considering we were not mic'd up. They had somebody recording in the front, but we were told not to bring microphones. So we just recorded with the in-camera audio, and it was okay. It wasn't bad, but we decided to use what they recorded off an iPhone, believe it or not. The iPhone had really good recording for the people right up front where they were. So that was good. But yeah, I was expecting a little bit better out of the GH5. I think I had the wrong lens. I should have bought the probably the Olympus 40 to 150, or even the Panasonic 70 to 200 equivalent. I forgot the number of which one that one is. But it came out okay. It wasn't bad. I just thought it would perform a little bit better. Because that's the first time we really tried it in a long event where we just never stopped. It was just an hour and a half straight.
And come to think of it, Christian, you actually do quite a lot of shooting outdoors, like at the events and stuff, and always comes out looking really good. Do you have some tips for getting really nice exposures outdoors with a mirrorless?
Well, what I actually do is only filming with the Sigma lens. I use wide aperture, and also what I use is ND filters. I think they are quite important if you film in bright sunlight, because if you film with large aperture, the sensor gets a lot of light and you can use the full potential of the sensor.
Yeah.
And sometimes it's too bright, but with the ND filter you can move it the way it should be. And I use always a variable ND filter for filming.
Yeah.
Because you can really adjust it on the spot, and you can adjust it exactly like you want it to have. No, you don't have to switch it all the time. You have a fixed ND filter, and I think that's quite well.
And that's true, because that way you can just keep the aperture all the way wide without having to mess with it, because you just have to,
And if you start in daytime and it gets darker, you just reduce the amount of density and you're fine.
Yeah, because I always turn the ND filter instead of the aperture. I think it's quite important because I want to keep my ISO low and also my aperture really open. And I think that's really important, because if you go higher apertures, it looks still fine on the G9 and GH5, but I think that's one of the main issues, because that the color doesn't look as good, and I think that's the main reason. And also the lenses are really important.
That's true. Which lens do you shoot with the most?
The most I use is the 16 millimeter from Sigma.
So you like that
it's
one?
really, really sharp and has really good colors. If you
What's the f-stop on it?
It's 1.4.
So it's really fast. Nice.
That's why I bought it. There are also faster lenses from Olympus, I think, 1.2 or from Panasonic, but I think because I like the Sigma because it has autofocus. The other lenses still do have it. There's also one 0.9 lens, but it doesn't have autofocus.
Okay.
But I really need autofocus for my videos because I can't do manual focus.
So for next year, for 2020, let's start with Harold. Harold, what would you like to get in 2020? What do you have your maybe eyes on or mind on?
Well, I guess as far as camera equipment, I'm still eyeing the same thing that I've been kind of like, I haven't got it yet, but I've been watching this one lens that's it's an EF lens that I would use with my Canon 5DSR. It's the Sigma 105 millimeter macro. That's I think it's a 2.8, but yeah, I've just been looking for a nice macro lens because I don't really have anything that can focus super close at the moment. And that's like kind of pretty much all my other needs as far as lenses are kind of filled. That's the only real gap is just macro.
Gee,
Jeff.
you're easily pleased.
Jeff,
I said
what
Harold's easily pleased. My goodness, just a lens. Like I want everything.
Well, you know why? Because we buy every piece of junk we can find in here. Then he plays with it. Then he goes, I don't want this.
That's right. So I've got a dog attacking me, you see. Sorry.
Well, let's see.
There she goes.
Oh, she's hidden now.
She saw the camera, ran away.
Well, what I want, as I said, just talk about the Canon 705 video camera. I'd love to get one of those, but here that's about $10,000 here, so that's definitely out of the picture. So then it was the Sony Z280, and that's about the same sort of price as the 705.
Interesting.
But as I said, one of the reasons why I like to go for the Sony, it's got like you said, the thing's different, that variable ND filter, but it's got the auto, so it will automatically apply it as well in certain situations. Slow, but it doesn't just come straight in. It slowly does it, so you can hardly see that it's being applied during the filming and that. But they're the two main ones. But as I said, I've had fun looking around. I thought I'll give Panasonic a go and have a look at theirs, the CX350. But that's about nearly the $6,000. But
well, they also have the EVA 1. That's the other. That's their kind of cinema camera. It doesn't even have an EVF. You have to buy your own EVF afterwards. That's another $1,500. They said. It's like, ooh.
Yeah, and that's why I like with the they've already got that, and they've got a good little monitor on the side. But then the silly thing with the Sony, though, they don't have touch screen on the monitor. So that's
the Sony doesn't.
No, I don't think it has a touch screen on the monitor for paying.
So you
all
can't
that
do
money.
any rack focus.
No, but you can't. But you can.
Interesting.
You've got a little joystick, and you click on it, and it will focus onto it.
Is that the 150? What about the 150? Did that have it?
No, the 150, because they're all pretty much, when you go to the 150, 250, 190, the general things are all the same. It's just the things whether like the 280 and 150 have and 190 have the variable ND. You see, so I thought if I'm going to get something, that's what I'll get, because it's something different that I've never had before. And if you're going to spend that sort of money, I don't want to spend it on something I've already had or already got with the GH5.
That's
like
true.
Christian was. It does a great job as long as you've got the variable ND screwed on the front and do that. But I'm just one of those lazy people that never get around to, I can't be bothered, and you take it off and do that. But as I said, with the video camera, it's all there. You've got it there. You don't have to think about changing lenses. Love the fact that you can on a Panasonic, but I'm the one, I could use this lens, but I can't be bothered changing it. I'll get dirt in the thing. Like with the Canon, I ended up not long after getting it. There's all blotches on the lens where you get dust and mess on it when you're changing lens.
And you've
Gotta
got
be
a
very-
long history with proper video cams, right, Jeff? Rick and I just the other day were watching your video where you're using the Sony beta cam.
We saw that
going
beta
around
cam
LA and
video
stuff.
you did, and we're now Christian. I don't think you were born when this thing came
No,
out.
we wouldn't have done
No.
This was an old 1982, maybe 83,
That video was in
82, well,
84, I think. the
84,
one where-
or maybe that's
84.
when he posted it.
No, well, no, that's when I came to Los Angeles for the 1984
Olympics.
Olympics. It was it was just running the marathon as I came into LA, and there
Wow.
was not a single car on the road. So I
No.
drove all the way from LAX to Anaheim with about 3 cars on the freeway, and I thought,
was great.
Gee, this is easy. And then I got onto the road on the Monday morning, and there was 500 million people on the road.
But that
it was-
beta cam, we were looking, that's 640 by 480. It's very small.
Yes.
And yet, this many years, 35 years later, it looked good. I mean, the quality was not bad.
Yeah, and the thing was, with those old ones, they had no stabilization, but it was perfect because the thing was so damn big.
Yeah.
You had it over your shoulder. You couldn't not do that.
There
So,
was no shake. Yeah.
yeah, but it's just the transfer is not very good on this because it's still tape. It's not very good on the tape on that. But it's said, yeah, you never see the freeways that sort of empty there.
Yeah.
But it was. I did a video. I don't know if you saw it on. I took this little Panasonic I've got here, this big Panasonic camcorder I've got here. I took that on one of my trips, and I've got a comparison. I drove from all the way down Harbour Boulevard in where Disneyland is there. But I did a comparison. I showed me driving down there in 1984 and what it was in 2013.
Yep.
And you could see all the things that have changed and then some things that are still exactly the Dan well saying. There was a bed shop there that had the same signpost in 1984 as they've still got in 2013. It's still, they haven't changed the logo, didn't change the thing or anything.
I don't think I've
interesting.
actually seen that one. You're going to have to give me that link after the show, Jeff, so I can direct everyone else to it too.
But that
So
was
Christian,
in the days when.
Oops, go ahead.
No, that's okay, no problem.
So Christian, what's on your mind for 2020 in terms of gear? What are you looking at?
I'm looking maybe at another Sigma lens, the 56mm 1.4, but the thing I'm looking forward the most is to buying a drone, because I want to take photos from above and also videos, because I'm also doing behind the scenes videos nowadays. I started doing some, and I also need drone shots for that. Also, I want to take different photos from other people, because I don't see a lot of people shooting photos with drones, like portraits and stuff, because I
Right.
do a lot of portraits. And I know only some photographers who do that, but I think it's really amazing. But drones are expensive, and I'm saving up money for it, and I think that's the next big thing I want to buy.
That's
sounds
interesting. Portraits with drones. I can really see how that would fit with your kind of filming style, though. I think you'll be able to get some really good stuff with that. That sounds cool.
The only thing is, like everything, like I don't know how it is over there in Germany and that, but here you just get so restricted from drones. You can't do that here. You can't do that there. You get into trouble for doing it here, so it's just not worth doing it. The only places you can do it are the things you just really don't want to film anyway. It just gets. You're better off saying, when you get a map and it shows you all the places you're allowed to film, and it's absolutely nowhere where you live, or nowhere and everywhere where you want. It's not an the horrible areas, the dumps or whatever. Oh yeah, well, you can film there. But it's all
Now, Jeff, here in the U.S., you have to become a registered flyer of a drone, pilot, if you will.
Yeah,
you can't even fly unless you have a license.
I think it's called licensed drone operator.
Licensed drone operator. Is that the same in Germany?
In Germany, you have to get something like a license if you have
Same
a big
thing.
drone. But
Okay.
there's one smaller drone from DJI which came out. It weighs really not that much, and it's really small. And you can use that as a normal person.
Oh,
Oh,
okay.
cool.
But after that drone came out, they want to change the
Right.
regulations
So,
again.
yeah, they'll
because
add another regulation. Yep.
Yeah.
But it is amazing.
Well,
Some of the drone footage looks so good. Would you get a drone that has a camera, or one that you have to put your camera on it?
I would like to buy one which has already a camera, because I think for drone footage you don't need that much quality, because it looks already amazing by the perspective, and people are amazed by it.
Are you looking at DJI or a different brand?
I'm looking at DJI for now.
Because they have a new one that came out, I think, that has their own little camera, and they said it does a nice job.
I think it's the DJI Mini which came out, the really small one, and it does a really nice job. But I need one which does raw photos. But for now, that only bigger ones do that. And but the JPEGs from the small one, which I saw, are really, really good, and you can get it in your backpack and take it everywhere you want.
That's what I like with that one. I've seen that one. Is that you can carry it around, and that's one of the big things with those bigger drones. If you can't take, if you have to put it in a box, it restricts you. But that one you can put in your backpack and take it with you and use it a lot more. But I'd love to get one, but as I said, it just puts me off with the thinking whether I'm allowed to do this and allowed to do that. So I don't bother. But then I just. A friend of mine's got one, just so invite him along, so get him to do it. Then he can get into trouble if he's flown it in the wrong place.
And can you imagine me flying a drone? That could be dangerous for someone.
Well, at least the great thing, they've got a button that says "Return to Home." So
that's true.
That's true. Come back.
Yeah, though I keep reading stories that they don't come back.
No.
Christian?
Yes, also, I heard some drones have built apps which have built-in maps where you are not allowed to fly, and if you fly the drone will come back home.
So it just checks the GPS coordinates and knows I can't go here or I can't go. Well, that's pretty good.
Well, at least that stops you from doing that. But then it's, you're flying your drone, then all of a sudden it hits a brick wall. Like, there's the barrier. I'm not there. And just goes straight down. So you become bang, and then it stops. I thought, no, obviously not.
Well, how far can they usually go until you can't see them? It's pretty much however, if you have a phone controller or something, how many hundred or thousands of feet can they go?
I think about 1.5 kilometers, isn't it? Something like that.
1.5 kilometers. So it's not too bad.
It's something like that. But in Germany, you're only allowed to fly a drone if you can see it. If you can't see it anymore, you are not allowed to fly with it.
So if you're flying in a city or something, you have to have eye contact at all times.
Yes, you have to have eye contact with it all the time.
Okay.
Because with some of the technology out there, you can actually start up a drone that I've got in California, and I can operate it from here. But that's totally illegal.
I've never seen a video. Now that I think I'm going to look for one. Have any of you seen a video of a guy on a motorcycle with a drone following the drone, and he's controlling it from his motorcycle? That would be interesting.
Well, sometimes, because you can have the follow. I've seen quite a few there set it off on a motorbike, and then they drive off and put it in front, and it'll keep going backwards, so he can.
Interesting.
You can do
that. I mean, if he was actually like operating and stuff, they might get him on distracted driving or something, because
and also what I've seen them do the drones is a lot of the news reporters. They've had the drones standing. There's a one-man crew. They're just standing in front with the camera with the mic, because you can see the shadow, and then it goes up, but you can see the shadow sometimes of the drone. But it's perfectly stable, because they just have it there. If they move, it moves. So sometimes on location when they're doing the news reports, they quite often use that. So, and if they're far enough away with the micro, they've got the good microphone that's not going to pick up the noise of the drone. And I thought they're just so good for those shots. And then they do it. They also let you know that you're using it, because when they're finished, they just do a horrible thing where it zooms up, so it goes away from them. So just to show you how technically advanced they are, I think. So
So I've got one last question to ask each and every one of you. Jeff, we'll start with you. What would you like to see for our crazy planet in 2020? It doesn't have to be tech. It could be anything.
Is people just to not be so crazy. Because it said I know we all want to save the world, but everybody thinks everybody's doing the wrong thing. And just, I don't know, everybody wants to force their own views onto everybody else. And, if you're not a vegan, that you're into trouble. If you're not a vegetarian, you're killing animals. If you're not, there's always something. And I don't mind. Everybody's got their own opinion, but that's what I just want to say. People just to settle down and get on with life.
Yep. Harold?
I would say I would like the world to just keep being entertaining, which I think is not a very tall order for, I think people are always doing things that are pretty entertaining in one way or the other.
Christian?
Well, I like to see most of the things the two already said, but I also like to see people following their dreams, also doing what they want, because I see a lot of people not doing what they want, having a job they don't like, having dreams but not realizing it. And I try to follow my dream right now, and I think you three also are living their dream, because you have other jobs in the past, like we said in some other shows before.
Yeah,
and I think many people should focus on themselves, and because if you are happy, you can make other people happy.
Wow, that's a really good one.
That is a good one. And you know what? That comes to what I was going to say, which stop living in fear, because if you're in fear, you can't ever find your dreams. You're too afraid. Stop living in fear. Have more confidence in yourself. And also stop thinking with your heart only. You got to think with your brain and heart, not both, because that's where you get all the emotionality, everybody wanting to kill everybody, which is sort of funny. The heart's supposed to be loving, so everybody wants to kill everybody because they don't do exactly what they all believe in. Not good. We need to learn the art of compromise again, just like Jeff said. Stop being so crazy. Enjoy life. There's more than one viewpoint in everything in this world. No, and the people who go crazy usually don't even understand what they're going crazy about. They don't understand science. They don't understand the body, the physics, or anything else. They're just crazy. Calm down. Take a deep breath. It's amazing what you can do when you breathe deep. It makes a big difference. Well, we are at the end of our show, and again, Christian, we so appreciate having you on, and we're glad watching you grow in your career and what you're doing, because that, believe it or not, we're a lot older than you are. I could probably be your grandfather almost. But you know what? That motivates us to do better. Watching someone young doing good makes us motivated to stop, being complacent, to keep doing good, to keep trying to get better and do things that are fun and that we learn and we can teach others. So that's a good thing. That's a good inspiration for us. And I think, we've talked about that. I know Jeff and I have talked about that in the past, that, you're doing things that are fun. You're doing things that grow you. They grow you as an artist, as a photographer, as a videographer. And to us, that's an inspiration. Makes us want to do better. And I think that's a good thing. You're not just here because you're a pretty face, right? No, you're here because you've got a good heart and you're doing good things. And we appreciate that. It motivates us to do better things. And then Harold will be entertained by everything we do. So this is good. Anyway, I entertain Harold all the time. I think I drive him crazy. I don't even let him work half the time. But anyway, hey, and all you people in the audience, what do you want to do for next year? How are you going to make this planet and your life better? Think about it, and then do something about it. Don't just think about it. Do something about it. That doesn't require guns or anybody getting hurt. Remember that. Just do something good about it. Anyway, we wish you guys all a very Merry Christmas, whatever you believe in. Have a happy holidays. Have a great New Year's. Like we always say, have a very healthy, happy, and prosperous 2020. We'll see you guys next year on Tech Down Over. Have a good one, everyone. Thanks.
Bye for now.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.
And it's a wrap.